Iranian Americans for Liberty applauds Trump administration's freeze on funding of Iran-focused so-called humanitarian NGOs, calls for permanent ban. Iranian Americans for Liberty commends President Trump for his bold decision to suspend funding for the so-called Iranian human rights NGOs. For too long, these organizations have been a waste of hard-earned taxpayer dollars, diverting resources to advance a partisan agenda rather than fostering genuine reform. Many of these groups operate not as true advocates for human rights, but as fronts for closeted left-wing activism, colluding to push propaganda under the guise of humanitarian work, wrote Iranian Americans for Liberty on X. Following the overturning of a bus carrying students on the Mahan-Kerman route, 6 people lost their lives and 27 others were injured. The accident occurred when the bus carrying 40 students veered off the road and overturned for reasons that are under investigation. Initial reports indicate that a brake system failure was the primary cause of the incident, and the bus's worn-out condition may have also played a role. In response, judicial authorities have ordered the arrest of the driver and placed the school principal under investigation. It has also been announced that if the vehicle is proven to be outdated, the transportation company will face legal action. This tragedy, which resulted in the deaths of 4 students, a teacher and a 9-year-old child, has sparked widespread reactions, with officials promising to take serious action against any negligence or misconduct in this case. Among the victims are names such as Maryam Nakhai, Parinaz Bahraini-Pur, Atena Molai, Dina Khanjari, a 9-year-old child, and her mother. Currently, the injured are receiving medical care and investigations are ongoing to clarify various aspects of the incident. Following reports of rape inside an ambulance, 2 similar crimes were uncovered in Karaj and a northern city. In one case, the victim, who suffered severe psychological trauma, died of a stroke a year later. The defendants were sentenced to 189 lashes. In the northern city, a 20-year-old woman was assaulted by an emergency technician during transport. Her husband witnessed the technician touching her body but initially thought it was part of the medical examination. After reviewing the evidence, the court sentenced the technician to 60 lashes for illicit intercourse. A colleague later confessed that the technician had committed similar crimes before, even filming some of them. In Karaj, a young woman was assaulted in an ambulance. Her father explained that she suffered mentally and died of a stroke a year later, the anniversary of the assault. The technician injected her with an anesthetic, making her defenseless, while the driver diverted the route to give the technician more time. The emergency worker was arrested, but the court sentenced him to 99 lashes and the driver received 30 lashes. The family was frustrated by the leniency, and the father has since spoken out to prevent future tragedies. A previous case involved an emergency technician abusing a menstruating victim after sedating her. A 9-year-old girl in Sanandaj has been rescued from severe abuse and torture at the hands of her stepmother. School officials, noticing visible signs of beating and physical injuries, reported the case, leading to the child being placed under protection. Reports indicate that the stepmother used brutal methods, including beating the child with a meat tenderizer, choking her, and burning her skin with a heated fork. The girl, identified as Anila, had previously been taken to the hospital multiple times due to injuries, but the abuse had gone unnoticed or was explained away each time. Initially, the father claimed ignorance of the abuse but was pressured by relatives to file a complaint. However, after legal action was initiated, the stepmother fled and remains at large. Anila's older brother, who also suffered under their stepmother, ultimately exposed the abuse by sharing photos of his sister's injuries with family members. Neighbors have also confirmed hearing her cries for help repeatedly over the years. The investigation into the case is ongoing, with authorities assessing the full extent of Anila's injuries. The stepmother, who is reportedly pregnant, is expected to be apprehended soon. Meanwhile, Anila has been placed in the care of her paternal relatives, though her family has remained silent about the situation for reasons unknown. Fateme Badeli, a 30-year-old mother of two, was brutally murdered by her husband in Kortkoi, Golestan, after enduring years of domestic violence. She had decided to file for divorce to protect herself and her children, but her attempt to escape the abuse ended in tragedy. The suspect killed Fateme with an axe and a brick in front of their children earlier this month and is now on the run. This heartbreaking case once again underscores the urgent need for stronger protections for victims of domestic violence and harsher consequences for perpetrators. In the second case of family homicide in recent days, a man in Juragan, Hamedan province killed his wife, her sister, mother, and brother before taking his own life. According to the public prosecutor of Hamedan, the suspect had previously been arrested for possession of 500 grams of methamphetamine but was released on bail in December. He reportedly blamed his wife for his arrest, even though she was later cleared of any wrongdoing after an investigation. This tragic incident once again highlights the urgent need for legal and social measures to protect families from domestic violence and prevent such devastating outcomes. According to a report shared on the Instagram account of Kushan Pirzadeh, known as Khaled Pirzadeh, a pro-monarchy political prisoner held in Evin prison, authorities ignored medical warnings and transferred him back to prison on Monday, February 3rd at 8 a.m. less than 48 hours after undergoing major abdominal surgery at Taleghani Hospital. The report highlights that upon returning from the hospital, prisoners are first placed in quarantine, a section with extremely poor sanitary conditions. For someone who has just undergone a serious surgery, this move is extremely dangerous, the statement reads. Furthermore, credible sources inside the prison report that due to the unsanitary conditions in quarantine, Kushan Pirzadeh has suffered from bleeding around his navel. Despite this, he has been denied access to medical care, and prison authorities have refused to transfer him to the infirmary or provide any medical assistance. Manucher Bakhtiari's wife, Sara Abbasi, wrote on Instagram, "Despite my husband's illness, the regime adds a new burden to our suffering every day. It seems like there is no end to this oppression. Every day a new court summons. This time they have combined two false charges against my husband in Qazvin prison, insulting the leader and spreading lies online, just because he said they are trying to kill him by denying him medical leave. For this, he was sentenced to 13 months and 15 days in prison, plus another 6 months for insulting the leader. They merged these sentences, but words fail to describe the regime's so-called justice. To the judiciary I say, if you want to give him a life sentence, just do it, rather than tormenting us like this. Don't give my imprisoned husband false hope of freedom only to break him again. The injustice they have inflicted on my husband, my child, and me since murdering Puya is so immense that history will never forget it. This regime only knows how to crush the innocent." You have destroyed our lives for years, imprisoning a grieving father simply for seeking justice for his murdered son, denying him medical care and fabricating case after case to ensure he never gets out. Is this your justice? Your government is a disgrace to all dictatorships, and we will remember your name forever as a symbol of oppression. Manucher Bakhtiari's life is in danger. Be his voice. He has always been the voice of the oppressed people of Iran. According to a report on Yashar Tabrizi's Instagram page, his court session was held on January 16, 2025 at Branch 2 of the Tabriz Revolutionary Court. He is facing charges including disrupting national security, propaganda against the regime, insulting Islamic sanctities, and insulting the supreme leader. Additionally, he was scheduled to appear again on February 8, 2025 at Branch 122 of the Tabriz Criminal Court 2, where he faced charges related to filming the intelligence office of the IRGC. Mahmonir Molairad, the mother of Kian Pirfalak, one of the victims of Iran's national uprising, has announced that she is forced to shut down her official Instagram page. In a heartfelt message shared on her account's narrator section, she wrote, "In the name of the God of the rainbow, the God of Puya, and the God of Kian, greetings to all you kind-hearted and free-spirited people. I am Mahmonir Molairad, the mother of the immortal Kian Pirfalak. Due to certain circumstances, I am compelled to close this page, which was dedicated to keeping the memory of my beloved Kian and Puya alive and has been my only official account." The announcement has sparked widespread reactions, with many expressing their concern and support for her in this difficult time. On Thursday, February 8, a group of nurses and medical staff at Lordegan Martyrs Hospital staged a protest in front of the hospital building, voicing their frustration over long-standing grievances that remain unaddressed by authorities. The protesters cited issues such as delayed or insufficient wages, poor working conditions, and a lack of adequate support and resources as key factors behind their demonstration. Many healthcare workers in Iran have been struggling with excessive workloads, insufficient staffing, and financial instability, all of which have intensified amid economic hardships and rising inflation. A group of Tehran merchants held a protest in Molavi Street, South Khayyam, and Qiyam Square in response to soaring prices and the sharp rise in the United States dollar exchange rate. Frustrated by the economic instability, they voiced concerns over declining purchasing power, shrinking profits, and the government's failure to control inflation. The protesters called for immediate measures to stabilize the currency and ease the financial burden on businesses and consumers. The demonstrations took place on Tuesday, February 4th. A number of third-party contract workers employed in the Lavan Operation region staged a protest at their workplace in response to the lack of attention to their demands. These workers, who are employed under contracting agreements, are protesting against poor working conditions, delayed wage payments, and job insecurity. Their demonstration reflects the widespread dissatisfaction among contract workers in the oil and gas industry. Despite repeated promises from officials to address their concerns, no effective action has been taken. This protest is part of a broader wave of labor unrest across various industrial sectors in Iran as workers continue to demand better working conditions, fair wages, and job security. Furthermore, a group of contract and project-based workers at Fajr Jam gas refinery located in eastern Bushehr province staged a protest within the refinery premises to demand their unpaid wages. Frustrated by ongoing delays in salary payments and a lack of response from management, the workers called for immediate action to address their financial hardships and ensure their labor rights. The demonstration took place on Tuesday, February 4th.